Hello, and welcome to episode 41 of Moms with Yarn. I'm Sharon, known as Bronx Knitter One on Ravelry and Bronx Knitter on Instagram. And I'd like to welcome new viewers and say thank you to returning viewers. I know when you tuned in, you thought you would be seeing Moms with Yarn. That would be me and Tracy. Tracy and I are still working on our scheduling issues, so it's just me. And when those issues get resolved, it'll be we again. So before I get started, let me just tell you that I am broadcasting to you live from my basement because my son is upstairs screaming at the TV at basketball. He is there in the relative warmth and comfort of the living room, while I am down here in the chilly basement. But I don't want to complain because at least there's some light down here. Enough light left in the daytime to at least do this recording. So anyway, yeah, while I'm down here freezing, my pontoon's off. My son is upstairs sitting on a comfy sofa, and I'm sitting on a wheelie chair on a pillow to hold me up high enough so I can see into the camera. But I'm not bitter or cold. Let's get on with the knitting, shall we? I am working on, well, I finished the Nairi shawl by Amanda Musha. This is a pattern I picked up at New England Fiber Festival, but it is available for purchase on Ravelry. The store that I got it from, well, there was a vendor there, don't know the name, and I saw the pattern, didn't know the name, liked the yarn that went with it, don't know the name, but I finished it, and here it is. I don't think there's a wrong side or right side to this. And I was like, oh my God, it's so small. But it's really not that small. It is my wingspan. Do, 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 do. And do, 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 do. I don't know if you can see all of that. I don't know what yarn this is, but it has bamboo in it. And I do know that it's pretty, and I do know that I love it, and I do know that I need it today down in this basement where it is chilly. It took longer to make than I thought it would because generally speaking, when you make a shawl that has picot on the edge, you finish the shawl and then you put the picots on, which can take forever. That didn't happen in this case. So the picots are built right into the pattern. So you do the shawl, you knit from tip to middle until you use a certain percentage of your yarn, and then you save the rest for the end. So I love the netting, I love the picots built in, I love the shawl. It's going to be even prettier when it's blocked and you can see it in all of its glory. There was a mistake in the knitting, but I fixed it, and I'm happy about that because it would have been okay, because even with one mistake in the knitting, I would have still worn it, liked it, loved it. It has great drape, and oh my God, it's keeping me so warm down here because it's kind of chilly. It's kind of cold. Why am I in the basement and not him? Anyhow, so that's one finished object. I would say it's an easy pattern. You just need a scale in addition to your knitting tools. So your knitting needles, a tapestry needle, a scale, and a skein of yarn. And I don't think it really matters much as long as you follow the instructions for how much is left to finish your shawl. You want to make sure you have enough. I'm sitting on a chair with wheels with a pillow so I can sit up high enough to see into the camera. This is not ideal. Anyhow, let me go to my next finished object, which is actually 3 preemie caps. You might recognize the yarn from this one. Ooh, I have a pocket for my shawl if I want one. This is the wool from the shawl, and this is the real color of the wool. It looks different in stockinette stitch, of course, than it does in garter stitch. And it's still pretty, it's still soft, and it's still baby worthy. And there's this, which is Spring Tree Road. It has some silk in it, but it's superwash, so this is a cute little hat too. And last one, which was made from I don't know what, but I put a little pattern on there because I just thought it was cute. That's where the needle ended, but yeah, pretty nice. 3 hats down. Into the Delicue bag they go. And, oh, before I forget, Tracy, don't let me forget to send you, you know, I didn't buy these, but Martha from the woman from the Yarn It, and I swear I think her name is Martha, but don't quote me on that. When I was at Vogue Knitting Live, she gave me these stoppers to put in the Yarn It. I love this Yarn It. My next project is already in the ball. But she gave me these. There's 3 holes in the Yarn It. 3. 1, 2, and 3. These actually lock the top in place, so you don't, when I reach in my bag now, the top doesn't accidentally come off. I don't unscrew it and send my yarn ball flying. So she gave me a set for me and a set for you, and I'm putting them in this preemie cap hat bag so I can remember to send them. That's 1 down. Those are my only 2 finished objects. I tried to make more finished objects, but I just wasn't quick this week because the woman who was sitting next to me all week, she had a really bad cold and she kept calling it allergies, and I don't believe her. I believe it was a cold. And so I was feeling kind of beneath the weather last week. So much so that, you remember my pattern that I'm designing? I'm making it with some mystery white yarn and some Genie Plymouth. This is cotton, I believe. Cotton and acrylic maybe, but I don't know. Not knowing seems to be the theme this week. And I started it, and last week I had like 1 row of the flowers for the 2nd row, and now I'm almost to the halfway part of these flowers, and I lost the pattern. The good thing is when you make it yourself, when you design it yourself, you can always write the pattern down again, which is a pain in the neck, but gotta do what you gotta do. So it's soft and it's wonderful, and hopefully when I'm done, I'll come up with some kind of way to cover the floats. That's not too shabby looking. I found that with this pattern, it's easier to have longer floats than shorter floats, and it doesn't pucker the fabric so much. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to write the pattern down this week and figure out where I am so that I can finish it, because I mean it's already too late to wear this, so it doesn't really matter. And I'd like to get it right, because there's a couple of people in my Knit Night group who said that they wouldn't mind giving it a try. But we'll see. I wasn't planning to write it up or sell it or anything, but I wouldn't mind having a perfect cowl, which would be nice. And if I could finish it, maybe I could enter Yarnivore's spring showers, or her spring theme. Anything that has to do with spring, flowers, rain showers, could be the name of the yarn, it could be the pattern, and how lovely would it be to enter my own pattern into that Ravelry group. So if you're not watching Yarnivore on YouTube, or you haven't joined her Ravelry group, Yarnivorous, I think that's how you say it, you should. She's got some interesting things to say. And she also is a seller of beautiful, beautiful yarns. That is whip number 1. And according to my notes, I have 2 whips. So in my Clementine original bag, which is my use it for everything bag seams, I have whip number 2, which is Blue Moon Fiber Arts, medium weight, Little Bo Peep colorway from, it was the Rhinebeck colorway about 3 years ago. It's left over from a pair of Jack socks I made myself. And this is what it looks like as a hat. Well, I'm gonna be a hat. Pretty nice. I like the way it's coming out. Finally a hat with baby colors. Don't you think that'd be nice? Oh, don't look at my naked nails. I had to cut my nails off and I took my nail polish off because I have those car doors that you lift the lever to get into the car. And when I lifted it, it slammed back down on my fingernail and broke it off. Oh, it was so short. It hurt so bad. But, so yeah, I got mad. Cut my nails off and took my nail polish off, and I'll have to fix it before I go to work tomorrow because I can't go back like this. So yeah, those are the colors. I think they're pretty nice. I think this was a pretty big ball of yarn to have left over from a pair of socks. I should have used more of it. But when you make socks top down, you don't really have a choice in the matter. So that's what it was. Pretty nice. I like it. The hat will be finished today. Since dinner is done, I was good. I made dinner early. So that's whip number 2. Whip number 3 is not knitting. So I don't know how many of you know this, but I've been teaching knitting for 10 years at my local library. This year, I think it is from September 2000 and I think like 2006, September 2006, 2005. Anyway, doesn't matter. So every time, there's people in class who have skills other than knitting and crochet, other than that kind of thing at the library. And so every once in a while, somebody will come in and offer to teach us something. You know, one time we had Maria came in with beads and we all made our own stitch markers. I still have them. I still use them and I still love them. But I still don't know how to make them on my own. But I do have beads, and you're going to find that that's a theme. So this time, there's a woman in the class, and her name is Brenda. And Brenda was teaching us quilting. I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't like to sew. I have a sewing machine that I took straight out of the box, and it has no foot. Or it has a foot, but the foot doesn't fit. And so I went to the sewing store to get a foot for my sewing machine, but she said you needed to have the model number of the sewing machine, and I don't know where to find it. So there must be something on the sewing machine that I can take a picture of and take it back to the store so they can give me a foot so that this whole process would be easier. But let me get on, shall I, about the disaster that was my sewing class. So Brenda gave us this paper with the outline of the pattern, and then she gave us some fabric, and you pick your fabric and you put it where you want, and you make this lovely heart, which maybe you can't tell that it's a heart. It's a mess. Okay, let me start at the beginning. Everybody was sewing along. I think there was one person in the class who was actually an experienced quilt maker. And she's sewing and she's humming. And me, I'm sitting in the corner stabbing myself and making pockets where there should be strips. Okay. So my piece got ripped out 6 times. Now, in case you didn't notice, my paper pattern is a little bit of a disaster area where the paper broke because I was hanging on real tight and trying to, but that's not even the worst of it. Aside from the major rippage that's going on with the paper, she said it doesn't matter because it's just going to come off anyway. You know, stuff like this, not important. So what, you can't follow the lines? It's not a problem. Okay? So yeah, so there's a hole here where you can see the paper shining through. And there's a little snip here where I cut something that I wasn't supposed to cut. And my fabrics, which were all bandana material, didn't exactly line up. So this line, which should kind of maybe go straight across, is sewn at an angle. And this one's cutting off and it should be up there. And this one, I don't even like this color. And I can see my stitching here. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's a practice piece. And she says it doesn't matter. It's the idea of figuring out what direction you're going in when you're doing it. So, okay, not a problem. So I sewed this piece on, top trim, which is supposed to cover these sharp points. And then I cut half of this one off. I don't know what I was thinking. And now I'm up to here. This part. This is just wrong. I have to live with myself. This is just wrong. This should not have happened. It wasn't that I wasn't paying attention. Yes, it was. But yeah, I tried. Can I get an A for effort? I tried. This piece is a disaster. So what I did was I asked Brenda for a new piece of paper, which she happily obliged. And you can see the boxes are numbered, and I have to remember to pin the fabric to the wrong side. Anyway, I told her I would use my own fabric. So where do I get fabric from? You might ask yourself. Well, one day about 3 years ago when I was in a knitting store looking for knitting supplies, which I found, there was a bin filled with fabric that was really kind of cute, and it was cheap. And I was going to make a fill in the blank because, you know, you always want to have the fabric ready when you get ready, when you think inspiration is going to hit you. Inspiration never did. So the fabric is still in the bag I bought it in, along with interface and thread and needles. So I figured, well, really, it's little, it's not a pillow or anything. It's just quilting. And it's a good skill to know because here in New York City, everything costs $1 million. Not a million, but you can make $1 million because a knitting lesson can cost you anywhere from $60 to $75. I guess it depends on if you want the person to come to your house or not. Then you have to pay for gas. And knitting lessons or crochet lessons usually come in a bundle, so you get 4 classes, an hour and a half each, for more than $200. So getting a skill for free in a class with a teacher who you have access to every week because they're there is wonderful. And everybody that comes to class isn't interested in knitting. So if you're introducing something else that they might be interested in, then it becomes more than just a social hour for them. It becomes something that they can do in their spare time at home. So in spite of the what did you do here, what did you do here, what did you do here of it all, and the 6 times I had to rip my pattern out, everybody else only had to rip theirs out once or twice, I did learn something. And I think I might I might like it a little bit. Not enough to give up knitting, but maybe if I do it at home at my leisure, maybe I'll get it right. That's what I'm hoping. So anyway, that's my whole shebang. That's everything I have. I guess this is the part where I say I will see you in 2 weeks. And until I do, enjoy your crafting.